Managing a team is really honestly like straightforward and pretty easy and gives you a lot of free time as long as you're, I don't know, just on top of your really.
We are a few days away from the start of the LCS summer season, and today I am honored and very happy to be in the presence of Inero, the new head coach of Immortals. And yeah, I mean, it's your, I guess, return to the LCS after obviously what happened with Golden Guardians last year. How are you feeling right now? Are you excited for the league to restart and yeah, just joining our Immortals and stuff?
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. I don't know, not competing is not fun. So I'm pretty pumped to be back into it. Like I don't know, I've been dying to get back into everything.
And I think you've been with the team for about like a month and a half now, by the way, like basically
Just a month
just a
right
month.
now. So I didn't start until May.
Hmm.
May 1st was like my first day, and then our first scrim set was May 4th.
Mm, okay,
So it's been a month.
yeah. So I'd like to ask you, how has it been like adapting to this new roster after the departure of Sharks and taking over for him? How do you like see the team currently? What are your like first things that you noticed with the team as a like in the way it works and stuff? And what do you think like the team needs to work on as well?
Yeah, so coming in, one of the biggest parts I hit on in the interview was just a couple of the things I noticed just early and honestly like throughout the game. Not a lot of consistent, clear team play that they were making.
Mm.
It really felt very individually focused, like individual person doing this, individual person doing that, rather than like as a team they're looking to do these things. It's always hard to know like why that can be, from the outside looking in. So a lot of my focus has been on really getting them on the same page for what they're thinking in the game and what they're looking to do,
Mm.
and just really creating and explaining concepts and trying to make it really simplified for them so they can like just better get on the same page, which we made a lot of good ground on, which is nice, but there's a lot there's a lot to catch up on, effectively starting 4 5 months later
Mm.
than everyone else, and a lot of stuff that we really should have been done on and past. So just trying to catch them up on that type of thing. I think if they get on the same page for that, like they can be a pretty strong team. They definitely got the individual talent.
Mhm.
Just putting it all together.
Yeah, and I mean, you're also going to be reuniting with Olleh, right? Who you coached
Yeah.
before you retired temporarily for a year for military service and stuff. How has it been working with him as well? And like, how different is he from the times that you previously coached him in Golden Guardians?
Not that different, to be honest with you. He is one of the most interesting people you will ever work with and coach.
Mhm.
Like he sees the angles, but sometimes he only sees the angles, which is like, everyone's got their pros and cons, but this guy likes to fight
Mm.
and he knows how to fight and he's gonna make a fight happen. Um, so it's fun. Like I like working with that. I know if you have a team with Olleh on it, you're never gonna have a passive team. He will not allow you to be, which is great because I hate working in a passive team. Like I want to be active on the map together and making plays constantly, and I want the other team to feel like there's pressure all the time. And a lot of like the stuff we're working on is really trying to make people feel that. So
Yeah.
it's been, I don't know, it's been nice working with him. I like working with Jusung. He's a funny guy too. Like
Always bring the mood up.
he's very interesting. Yeah, definitely.
Mhm. And I mean, you're in a bit of a interesting situation because obviously Immortals has been one of the worst performing LCS teams for quite some time now. And in the past, you were during your last tenure in the LCS with Golden Guardians, which was in a bit of a similar position for a long time until 2023 when they went to MSI and went to the World qualifying series and stuff. So considering that you've been for 5 years with Golden Guardians in the past, how do you see yourself and your future with Immortals? Do you plan to stay for a long time with this org, and do you think that you are capable of bringing this org to the same point that Golden Guardians reached in 2023, for example?
So yeah, I'm definitely used to this kind of situation where I come in and a team is kind of in the slums
Mm.
and have to work out of it. So I'm not really uncomfortable with this, which is nice because I know that can be like very stressful, but it's pretty chill for me. Used to this happening. Managed to do it with Echo Fox before leaving Golden Guardians. We had to do it twice, basically. It's hard and it is very rewarding and feels great to do. And I really really empathize with the players in this type of position because I know the stress that they're under. So I really like doing it. I like being able to make the situation a positive.
Yeah.
So I'm really hopeful to bring that to Immortals. I have no clue really on like a long-term aspect with IMT, purely because like I have like a contract that's through the end of the year, and that's it.
Fair.
I'm still exploring like different routes and opportunities with the Warriors as well, since I'm still an employee there, and just what that could turn into, and if it's something that I actually want to do, or if I want to stay competitive in league. So it's really hard to say, but I want to basically treat the time that I'm here right now as though I would have on the teams I was in the past, where like, hey, this is a long-term play. This is what we're looking to do. We're trying to build up to this, and give Immortals that same type of feedback internally.
Yeah. So in the past, obviously, you coached these guys in the first half of this year, but in the last year that you were in Golden Guardians, you were actually operating as a general manager, and now you're going back into the role of head coach as well. How has it been like moving back into this role that is something that you had more predominantly like in the first part of your career maybe, and like you kind of moved away from for a moment as well?
It's been pretty easy to get back into, honestly. I don't know, like the GMing time, managing a team is really honestly like straightforward and pretty easy, and gives you a lot of free time as long as you're, I don't know, just on top of your really. It's there's a lot of things like I could have done better as a manager, and like that's all learning experience. But in terms of like time availability, I always had time to just kind of keep up with like what the team is doing, help out in ways that I could. Like thankfully with the coaches that were there, I really didn't need to do too much of anything, but I could just sit in, talk with them a bit, give like some of my perspective where it was necessary, listen to what they're doing, listen to how the players were talking about things. So I never really fell like too far behind of like, oh, I've been gone a year and like I've got to catch up on all this stuff. Like I stayed pretty active and pretty in sync with it because that was something that I really valued still. So it hasn't been too difficult really. I think coaching in academy was honestly like the hardest coaching I've had to do. So if anything, that was like a nice little like buff for me is doing that again, because that was working remote, not the most thrilling thing. So, yeah, no, it wasn't too hard. It wasn't too hard to get back into.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of these guys and coaching in the NACL, for example, as well, could you tell us more about this short stint that you had last Blitz? And also, maybe, do you have any players that you think you would want to shout out from your time in the NACL, like players that you think could be upcoming talents for the LCS in the future as well?
Yeah. So working with this guys was great. Like it's just the hurdles that come with working remotely, where everyone's in a different time zone, everyone's got different like real life schedules. Like no one's making a full-time wage where they can just sit there and do this all day. Thankfully, there was some like Tenacity and Poom where he's got time to kind of do what he wants. Poom's like doing collegiate at the same time, so he's like set. He can focus a lot of time on league outside of school. But it's really hard to just get everybody just to do stuff together, to like see what they're thinking when everything's remote, to see what's like the body language, all of that stuff. Like it just doesn't exist. Like we turn on cameras sometimes, but yeah, it's not the same. So that was all really difficult, but got used to it, and it was a good experience. Like the environment was great. Like our team started off like kind of rough at first, is usually what happens with like a whole brand new group of 5 people together, and we turned it around for playoffs. Like we should have been top 3, but unfortunate things happened in 2 of our games that turned it around, which is what it is. I think for the younger guys on that team, it was a really good experience for them to learn a lot too, which is nice, and it's really just what I wanted from it. So I was happy for that.
And do you have any?
No, it was a good time.
Do you have any players as well that you think like you want to shout out, by the way, from your times in NACL? It doesn't have to be like this guy's player as well. If you have like other people you think were really good.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like Quad coming up, like that guy definitely, he's got the talent. So I hope he does well in LCS. I hope there's no like pressure issues there. Like he's good for sure. Other than that, really the players on our team, like I loved working with them. Tenacity, he's a little shithead, but he's good and he's funny. He's good to have for the team environment. Like he cares, but he still like keeps it fun, which is good. Same for Poom. Like I really respected the fact that Poom could, like working with Manui, like those two are like, he's got a lot of experience. Manui's like new, trying to come into it, and Manui had a lot of stuff like he needed to get better on and he needed to work on. And the guy who's working with you day in, day out is going to be the one who's constantly giving you feedback. And I think Poom really balanced like giving it to Manui like firm of like, hey man, you gotta, like if you don't do this, like it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have got to do this, and like that was great. Like I think Manui learned a lot from that, which is good, and like he really stepped up in that kind of leadership role
Yeah.
pretty well, which was nice to see. And I know Manui learned a lot from that, same as Perry, and it was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then like those two as well. Like I know Perry's like retired, but like I really appreciated like the work ethic that he was willing to put in for everything, even though like he knew pretty early on he wasn't going to stay.
Mm.
He wasn't going to continue with pro. Like he still kept it in there to try and keep pushing forward for the guys that are.
Yeah.
Manui always cared so much about everything. He always came in with like a plan, was always trying to find any info he could to help the team and do better. Like working with him was great. And then last but not least, Young. Like we had Young on GG, so I was really excited to work with him again. Really talented kid. Like I hope he manages to find his way in as well. Like he's definitely got the ability to get in. He's just got to like keep working on a few things and like really learn, and that really just comes with time. But like I don't know. I really loved working with those guys. It was a really great experience, and I don't know. I wish I could have done it all in person. I think we could have done like such sick things together if it was in person. So tragic.
So I think we do have to close out very soon because we have exceeded the time of the interview. But just lastly, before we go, without going into too much details, you will be facing a lot of your former players, Licorice in Dignitas, Hui in NRG, and I think also you are facing River in 100 Thieves, right? So do you have any players that you really want to take down? And I mean, do you have any rivalries ahead of this split?
God, I think my only rivalry is with Dignitas, and like I hate to do it to Eric, but that is the one team I really want to beat. God, I really hope for all of those games, for all of the teams, that everyone does a really good job in the game and then they lose. That's what I want. I want them to lose, but I want them to like look good while they lose. I don't know, but yeah, Dignitas is the team for me. I just don't mess with their management side. I like Toby, and their staff, but Dignitas is the rivalry for me. I'm looking to beat Dig. I want Dig to lose.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. In any case, I wish you the best of luck with Immortals this split, and hopefully we'll get to talk again to you soon. Maybe even at Worlds. I mean, Olleh did tell me that he wanted to bring Immortals to Worlds, so maybe.
Yeah. Hopefully so. That'd be really nice.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a great night.